So, this is my unlawful discrimination complaint regarding Los Angeles City College. I've been hearing some crazy stuff in classes. I've heard women called sluts. I've read in movies where women are called whore. I've heard the N-word in class in a movie setting. I've had a teacher scream the word tits and ass at me when I told him I didn't like the word tits and ass. Women have been called cheesecake, been made fun of for their weight and for gaining weight, I don't know. There's a teacher who's really obsessed with prostitution, and he calls it hookers, and I called him out and told him, you don't say hooker in the international community, you say sex worker. But he didn't really understood, and then he was like, well, what should I go with, prostitute? And then he was like, oh, that sounds so funny. And then this other teacher said, stupid woman and horrible woman. Even my administration of justice professor was pretty degrading. He was meaner to the Latina women in my class. I couldn't figure out why. And I never reported that. Maybe I should have. I reported the law professors, and I'm reporting the tits and ass professor to Sacramento, but Sacramento will Christy Passman will push it under the rug. But what's really amazing is, I think Professor Eckford really understood. So when you go to school after you've been raped, I think it's just like such a huge thing, because a lot of times you're going to be really depressed. You might lose your appetite. You might never want to be around people again. When I was raped, I was called a bitch. I was called a slut. And I was called a psycho whore. So when I have to go to class and hear the words whore, it just reaffirms the anguish I felt when I was raped. And when I reported the rape, I was told I had a rape fantasy. Nobody took it seriously, including the police. I tried to meet them and give them evidence and introduce a witness, and they had no time for it. But that was back east, where women are really less than people. Los Angeles City College needs to do a lot more to protect women and minorities. I have so much anxiety. I've been missing class lately and missing assignments and tests. When you call women sluts and whores, and you have no idea what they have to go home to or where they're coming from, I think you're really a part of the problem. And that's why I think Christy Passman, the Ombudsman for Discrimination and Harassment, needs to do more to protect the students from rape, from verbal violence. Even one of the law professors was making jokes about the rape that occurred on campus and blaming the victim and saying, oh, well, she had dated the guy and she set up a date and then she claimed it was rape, and he was trying to totally minimize it. I don't know what really happened. I wasn't there, but I was there when I was raped. I was raped twice, in fact, once by a philosophy student at Vanderbilt University. I dropped out of school there because I felt there was a lot of sexism on campus, and I was tired of condescending attitudes from the rich kids. My blog, The Real LACC blogspot, is getting read by some candidates for the ASO. That's kind of cool. And then the District Council, Eric Kim, told me to take it down, which I think is just an attempt to silence my free speech. And I think that's pretty funny that he would do that. I don't really feel very good today. It's kind of an irony that this day again, because this makes me really sad. I didn't really feel like coming to school, but I'm glad I